fairer, greener, safer and more prosperous place for everyone. Londoners have put their faith in me again and again because I listen to them.
So this was a notorious Rochdale grooming gang leader, a man called Shabir Ahmed.
London, 80 people, not police officers in stab vests, not NCA investigators with search warrants. A team of 80, gang crime experts, homelessness charity workers, drug specialists, security contractors and council officers, moving floor by floor through 600 empty flats in the Aylesbury estate, sealing every door, clearing every squatter, cutting off every access point that the gangs have been using since the legitimate residents moved out. 24-hour security guards stationed at the boarded-up blocks. The cuckooing network that turned empty council property into a distribution hub for county lines dealing, gone. The supply route through stairwells that the Met's own mapping identified as among the highest footfall drug delivery corridors in Southwark, closed. Not by an arrest, by a bulldozer that hasn't arrived yet, and by the 80-person sweep that made the buildings functionally unusable for the people who had been operating out of them. This is what it looks like when Britain's response to gang-held estate architecture is not just enforcement, but demolition. The principle is not new. The evidence for it is now peer-reviewed, published in academic journals, and confirmed by Metropolitan Police crime data. When you remove the physical environment in which a gang culture is embedded, the blind corners, the enclosed stairwells, the high-rise blocks with a single access point and no visibility from the street, you do not just inconvenience the criminal network, you structurally damage its operating model. And the locals who have lived inside that operating model for years, they cheer. Because they have always wanted to, and nobody gave them a reason to until the crane arrived. Nobody explains the evidence base behind this. Nobody connects Southwark to Glasgow to Bexley and shows what the crime data says happens when the blocks come down. That's why British front media exists. Subscribe now, because what follows is the complete picture. Reason number 1. The Metropolitan Police confirmed 0 recorded burglaries, drug offences, weapons offences, or robberies inside Erith Park in the 12 months following its regeneration, 80% less crime than the rest of its ward. This is the proof of concept behind every subsequent demolition. The Lana Road estate in southeast London, 8 tower blocks plagued by crime and antisocial behaviour for 4 decades, was demolished and replaced by 588 new homes in a £120 million community-led regeneration project guided by Secured by Design, the National Police Crime Prevention Initiative. The new development, now called Erith Park, was built into traditional street patterns, low and medium rise, with clear sight lines, no enclosed stairwells, no blind corners. On November 27, 2018, as the final homes were completed, the Metropolitan Police reported 0 recorded burglaries, drugs-related offences, weapons offences, robberies, or personal thefts within the Erith Park boundary over the previous 12 months, not reduced, 0. And the Met confirmed that reported crime inside the development was now 80% lower than in the rest of its ward. The estate's former residents described it simply: children were never allowed to play outside unsupervised before. Now they are. The estate was not just unsafe, it was architecturally designed, through decades of neglect and high-density isolation, to be the ideal environment for exactly the kind of criminal network the NCA spends billions of pounds a year trying to dismantle from the outside. Reason number 2. Glasgow's transformational regeneration areas, 8 demolished estates replaced with mixed-tenure housing, produced measurable peer-reviewed crime reductions, confirmed in an Oxford University study using 13 years of administrative data. Glasgow has gone further than any other British city in using physical demolition as a crime reduction tool, and the evidence is now peer-reviewed. In 2009, Glasgow City Council and the Glasgow Housing Association began implementing transformational regeneration areas, 8 projects involving the demolition and replacement of existing estates with new mixed-tenure housing, green spaces, and community amenities. An Oxford University study published in the Journal of Economic Geography, using geo-referenced crime data from 2007 to 2020, found that the TRA programme produced measurable reductions in crime in the regenerated areas, not displacement to neighbouring areas, but genuine aggregate reductions at the city level. The methodology used a staggered difference in differences approach, comparing crime before and after each TRA was implemented across all 8 sites simultaneously. Glasgow's gang problem, among the most entrenched and violent in Western Europe, did not dissolve overnight. But the academic evidence now confirms that removing the physical infrastructure of gang territory produces real, measurable crime reductions that persist over time. Reason number 3. The Aylesbury Estate Regeneration deployed 80 specialists to seal 600 empty flats against gang use, and £346 million has been spent on the project since 2015, with demolition of remaining blocks set to begin in 2026. This is the largest single estate regeneration project currently active in Britain, and what the 2025 operation inside it exposed is how thoroughly criminal networks had embedded themselves into empty council property waiting for demolition. In 2025, Southwark Council deployed a team of more than 80 people, including gang crime experts and drug specialists, to check and seal 600 empty flats across the Aylesbury estate, while 24/7 security guards were dispatched to monitor the boarded-up blocks. The operation was launched after squatters, some linked to criminal networks, had been found using paper in door frames to check whether flats were being monitored. By 2026, £346,546,486 had been spent on the regeneration since 2015, a figure that represents the single most expensive estate regeneration in British local authority history. The initial demolition of remaining empty blocks is scheduled to begin no earlier than autumn 2026. The gang network that used those empty blocks lost its physical base the moment the 80-person team sealed the last stairwell. Reason number 4. Blackpool is demolishing 300 properties in a £54.5 million government-funded regeneration, with central streets identified as environments so architecturally degraded they had become structural pull factors for organised crime. Estate demolition is not only a London phenomenon. Blackpool Council, backed by £54.5 million in government investment, has received planning permission to demolish approximately 300 properties in the central area, with initial demolition starting no earlier than autumn 2026, and replace them with up to 230 new energy-efficient homes. The planning application identified the target area explicitly: broken pavements, no trees, poor quality streets and buildings, creating an environment that had caused the local housing market to fail. The language of planning documents and the language of gang crime intelligence overlap in Blackpool's central streets because they are describing the same reality: degraded, high-density, low-surveillance housing stock, precisely the architectural conditions that the NCA's County Lines intelligence maps identify as optimal environments for cuckooing operations, drug dealing, and gang recruitment. The bulldozer is not a crime strategy. It is the physical consequence of finally accepting that the environment itself was part of the problem. Reason number 5. London councils published a Decade of Renewal manifesto in November 2025. But estate regeneration is failing residents through delays, developer pullouts, and private housing uplift that prices original communities out of their own streets. This is the side of the story that the cheering crowds do not always get told before the crane arrives. In November 2025, London councils published a manifesto framing estate demolition and redevelopment as instrumental in a decade of renewal for the capital. The Mayor of London's 2026 to 2036 Social and Affordable Homes programme made estate regeneration a stated priority. And a March 2026 report published by the London Assembly, drawing on evidence from estate residents who attended a City Hall event in February 2026, documented the failures that sit alongside every headline about demolition: stalled schemes, private developer pullouts citing viability, residents forced to live in degenerated conditions for years between ballot and construction. One scheme's residents were told they could move into new homes in 2026. Their developer pulled out in 2023. Construction will not start until at least 2027. Residents are still there, in the original conditions, waiting. The gang network that used the estate's architectural vulnerabilities is still there too. So here is where Britain stands in July 2026. 0 recorded drug offences, burglaries or weapons crimes in Erith Park's first year after demolition. Confirmed by the Metropolitan Police. 8 Glasgow estates demolished and replaced, with Oxford University research confirming measurable crime reductions across 13 years of data. 80 specialists sealing 600 Aylesbury flats against gang use, with autumn 2026 demolition now scheduled. Blackpool bulldozing 300 buildings with £54.5 million of government money. London councils declaring a decade of renewal, and a March 2026 London Assembly report confirming that for every Erith Park success, there are schemes where residents are trapped in degenerated conditions between a ballot they won and a developer who walked away. The bulldozer reduces crime. The academic evidence confirms it. The challenge is everything that has to happen, and not fail, between the vote to demolish and the day the crane arrives. Subscribe to British Front Media.